What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be about fixing that pesky little error 5665 code when making your product listing, right? So if you're trying to get your FNSKU for your manufacturer to get it on your product packaging, well, Amazon's not letting you get past this to get your FNSKU, right? So it's a real tricky situation for a lot of sellers right now. So I want to help navigate you through this. That way you can do it yourself and make sure you're setting yourself up for success, in the short term, which is right, getting your FNSKU and getting past that pesky error. And in the long run, that way you can make sure you get brand registered and everything like that. And then secondly, I'll also be covering if you need GS1 barcodes to actually get past this or not, right? So we're gonna cover quite a few things here in this video, but if you're making your first listing, this is very important, so make sure you watch the whole video. That way you guys do not miss anything. But real quick before we get started, I just wanna introduce anybody new to this channel. My name is Camron James. I'm a 7-figure Amazon FBA seller. I've been doing this for about 3 years now. Not too long ago, it feels like I was still working at Chick-fil-A, going to college, trying to get my degree. But now I do this full time and it's something that I'm very passionate about. So if you guys want more videos on Amazon FBA or just want to see everything I learn, my journey, everything like that, please hit that subscribe button down below and that little notifications bell. But otherwise, guys, let's not waste any more of your guys' time. Let's just get right into it. All right, guys, so we're in my Amazon account here. And I went ahead and set up a product for us to get through this error, to show you guys how I got through it and everything I've learned about it from trying to get another product listed under my account. For this is just an example. I got a UPC here. This is actually from GS1 Barcodes, which we'll talk about a little bit later, if you can use that or you can get around that, if you can get a cheaper one or not. But just know that this is a GS1 barcode. It doesn't really matter if to get past this error, it doesn't really matter right now. If you have a GS1 barcode or nationwide barcode or a speedy barcode, but there are some things we should talk about for the long run a little later. But we can see my product name here. What I'm going to do is a basket weaver 360, right? You can see already that this error is popping up for me. So this is the error 5665 here. Let's just come back to this here in a second. But for this brand name right here, I put Happy Hiccups Basket Weaving. So with this, I'm trying to list my brand name, that way I can have a brand presence. Well, when I do this, when I put this brand name here, it doesn't matter for the manufacturer part number. You should be able to do this just fine here. But say I delete this real quick so it refreshes, then hit G right here, I'm gonna get that error right here. So let's just read this real quick. Amazon must approve your brand before you use it to list your product. So brands should be registered through brand registry. But if your brand is not eligible for brand registry, you can obtain an exception by contacting seller support and mentioning error code 5665. So it's something to take into account here. People might be freaking out thinking they have to have brand registry to actually, get a product listed on Amazon. This is not the case. So if you're not eligible for brand registry, like right here, you have to contact seller support and mention error code 5665 to get your brand on there, okay? And so, let's talk about this. I'll talk about a way to get around this, of course, if you need that FNSKU right away, but let's just talk about this, about what Amazon wants. That way you guys know what's kind of going on, what they're looking for, and all that good stuff. So say you want your brand name on there right away. You want to make sure you're doing everything by the book and everything like that. And you're gonna have to do this eventually anyway, so that's why we're covering it, of course. So they want the brand name used when creating the listing, right? So all they're asking here is, for some reason they want you to email them, email support and say, hey, I'm going to be using, Happy Hiccups Basket Weaving to make a new product. Well, that's just not logical, right? Because you're not going to really do that until you actually make the listing, right? And that's why we're getting to this issue right now. So know that you can, email them before you make your listing, but I don't see the point to do that. I really don't. But we'll talk about some pros and cons so you can make your own decision there a little later. Next, images of the product packaging showing branding on either. The images can show the product and packaging held in hand or placed on a table. Their branding must be permanently affixed, okay? So this is the most important thing. So to get your brand name on your listing, which is the ultimate goal here, you're gonna have to have your product and packaging and have photos of that with your brand name on it, okay? So this is where it gets like really annoying for people in our business, because it's like, hey, Amazon, I just want my FNSKU to get it manufactured. I haven't even got this thing manufactured yet. Well, they don't care, right? So somehow we have to get packaging before we even manufacture our product, right? And the only way to do this in the real sense is to just have your manufacturer go ahead and make you, your first mock-up, your first, product packaging with your brand on it, and you're just gonna have to wait until you get that done to do this properly. So say you finally get to that point, right? You have your packaging, your supplier sending you photos of it, it's all good. and you're ready to get going and send these over to Amazon so you can get your brand listed on your listing there, right? Well, something that people are not thinking of here that Amazon's very particular on is this little part right here. The branding must be permanently affixed. So what this means is that Amazon wants this brand, your brand name, right? So for us, it's Happy Hiccups Basket Weaving. And what Amazon wants, what's qualified as permanently affixed, is that brand on the packaging, like a cardboard box, right? A box that the whole kit comes into, and that brand listed on that cardboard box, permanently printed on there. What they don't count this as is, say you have a plastic bag and you put a sticker with your brand name on it. They don't want this because technically that's not permanently affixed, right? You can get a product from a department store, put in a plastic bag, put that sticker on there. They want something that's permanent, which I know is kind of weird and there's a lot of gray areas to that, but that's what they're looking for. So if you get denied, that's most likely the case when you send your pictures in. So make sure you work around that, or at least if you can't do that, say it has to come in a plastic bag and you can't get it printed on there, or you have a weird product that doesn't allow you to do this, make sure that you are addressing that to your Amazon seller support when you're talking to them, and try to work out a solution with them to try to figure this out. They should be a little lenient because this policy is new. This is all brand new and everything like that. Next, if you're using inventory file templates, please also provide the batch ID of the inventory file process report. No one's really going to be using this unless you bulk update your products, or bulk add products, unless maybe huge brands are going to do this and everything like that. But usually us private label sellers don't do this. So this is all we really need to send them: the brand name used when creating the listing, images of the product packaging showing branding on either, and the brand name has to be permanently affixed, of course. So that's the error 5665. And so you just have to talk to seller support, mention that error code, send in this stuff in, and then they'll update your brand on your listing. Well, people who, are here just because they need an FNSKU, right, to get to your manufacturer, well, it's going to take a long time, right, to get your product packaging made. If you don't have an FNSKU in there, they have to just remake it anyways and get a new template, which is super annoying. So what you can do here, and this is what I did, is you can put in brand name NA, okay? So if you already heard about this, which most likely you already have, you're probably getting this error code. You're using UPCs, EINs, whatever, codes that do not match the products you're trying to list. If you believe that you have reached this message in error, please contact seller support. So what this is there's so many people using this trick and this hack of NA just to get past this and get your FNSKU and get your product listing up and going. Then Amazon most likely thinks that NA is an actual brand name because someone's got approved for it, and that they don't think your UPC is tied to that brand, and there's some kind of error going on there, right? So that's what's going on there, because most likely you've heard about this NA trick to get through this. So what you can actually do is you can just put like 2 right here or something like this. So you see save and finish has popped up for me finally here. You can do .2. I'm sure this is all going to change. And then you can see with NA.2, they actually don't like this. They think it's a different brand name. So we just go NA2. We go back to that one, whatever works, right? You get to try it some different ones here. Save and finish, when you get that, that's when you're good to go. So what you're going to do is hit save and finish, and then you can go ahead and print your FNSKUs. So I hope that little trick helps you get your FNSKU and get going in the manufacturing process. You still will have to contact seller support to change this brand name later. You don't want NA2 on your listing, right? That looks ridiculous. But next I want to address the barcodes, which is GS1, Nationwide barcodes, Speedy barcodes, all that, and what you should be using with this update on Amazon. Just one more thing I want to cover on the topic of error 5665 is you can go ahead and email seller support before you make your listing, right? Say you really don't want to put NA2 in your listing and deal with that later, right? Because you will have to talk to seller support, just like you will in the beginning though. You can actually get pre-approval for them, right? Send in, your brand names that you're going to use to make a new listing. Then go ahead and send in the photos of the product packaging and all that stuff to get pre-approved. To me, it doesn't really matter because I'd rather just get the FNSKU and get it over to them so they can make the product packaging whole and we're ready to go there. But just know you're going to talk to seller support either way. There could be an additional few hiccups down the line, putting NA there and just talking to more seller support to get that updated. But I don't see any difference there besides just getting your FNSKU right away, which is, seems like the pro for me to go for. But back to the topic of GS1, right? So I told you guys this was a UPC from GS1 Barcodes. GS1 Barcodes is the place that Amazon recommends. They have been recommending GS1 Barcodes for years now, but they've never really enforced it. this might be the first sign of them actually doing this. And actually one of my students who just got approved for their listing, right, sent in their product packaging photos, everything like that, he got an email back saying that his UPC on listing was actually a restricted UPC. He was using a Speedy Barcodes UPC, I believe, and they're, you know, the same thing, Speedy Barcodes, Nationwide Barcodes, or any of the third-party barcodes. So this is telling me that Amazon is starting to check these things and that they're, you know, most likely going away with that. Also, if we go to Nationwide Barcodes here on my screen, we can actually see that Nationwide Barcode says, you know, UPCs from GS1 can be costly. Of course, we know that. That's why we're doing this. Maybe a better solution for selling your product. Our UPCs will work for you unless you, right here, if we go to the second bullet, sell your product using Amazon Brand Registry, if I zoom in right there. So this is a dilemma you have to face, and in my personal opinion, I would personally go to GS1 Barcodes and move towards that. I know it's more expensive and it kind of sucks, but I think Amazon will not allow you to do brand registry any longer, or at least moving forward with, you know, a Speedy Barcodes or Nationwide Barcodes UPC. So if you want to get brand registry down the line, I definitely would get a GS1 barcode. Now I know people in the past have gotten brand registered, you know, with Speedy Barcodes and Nationwide Barcodes, but I really honestly think they're actually moving away from this. And based on what they told one of my students in the email about being a restricted UPC, that means they're actually checking things out. Why would they say that if they were not? So I think it's just best if you guys move to GS1 Barcodes. I know it's a little more expensive, but in the long run, you know, if you have to make a new listing just because you don't have a GS1 barcode and you want to get brand registry and you know, losing, you know, your ranking and your reviews possibly, I just don't think that's worth the savings down the line, just based off what I'm seeing right here. Again, that's just my personal opinion on that. I don't have solid facts. I just have some facts here and there that I'm kind of connecting. Obviously, this is all very, very new, but I hope all this info helps, guys. Helps you get past that pesky little error code and really gives you an idea of what you should be doing to get your brand name on your listing, you know, getting your FNSKU over to your manufacturer and what to send to Amazon to get your brand name, and also about, you know, barcodes in general. So hope that was a good one, guys. Make sure you guys check out more videos on my channel. I put a lot of effort in there and I show off all the good knowledge that I have. So that's it, guys. Take it easy and we'll see you on the next one.